Danielle,
Yes.
welcome to the proxy theory.
Thank you.
I'm very
Excited to be
excited
here.
to have you here. Um, you do so much on a daily basis. So just walk me through a typical day in the life of you.
A typical day in the life is basically me running around screaming, coaching, and helping people. I coach at a few different group fitness places, and then I also have one-on-one clients as well too.
What do you like about group fitness versus one-on-ones? What do obviously you work at multiple different locations, so kind of go into what you do for each specific area.
So, the difference that I like group fitness is a lot more community based, and I absolutely love that aspect of it, but it's also fun because I can be a little more outgoing and running around. And then one-on-one clients I like because it's more therapy. I feel like it's the same with like hairstylists, people that when you're truly like you're their therapist. All of the group fitness places are a little bit different. So one of them, everything's to the beat of the music, so that's so fun. It's like tempo based. I pick the playlist, everything is a theme. So that's really fun too. It's strength based. Another so I'll create the workouts for that. And then another one is the yard. So the workouts are already pre-planned and that's like strength and conditioning. Totally different aspect, which I really like as well too. And then I'm also at Global, the hotel, and that one is like a hit class. So then I'm able to create the workout for that too. And that's more it's like strength and cardio based as well.
And you're running around pretty much the whole valley too.
Yes, like North Scottsdale, Gilbert, downtown Phoenix, Thunderbird, which I guess would be more somewhere in Phoenix,
Yeah,
but literally everywhere. I drive probably like 2 hours a day.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Taking a lot of gas mileage there.
I got my oil changed, and the guy said, "You know you put on over 3,000 miles in 1 month?" I said, "I do." I don't wanna talk about it, that's why I'm already back. So, it is a lot of driving right now, but driving, 1, I love to begin with, because we can totally get into that, but it's where I'm able to playlist, creating workouts and everything. It's where my mind goes, the best. I feel like I'm able to get my best ideas while I'm driving, so I do like it, but sometimes, yeah, I get in the car, I'm like, "I was just in here." Like, why are we
Right?
Yeah, but it's
You
good.
find that a lot in what people's vices are for how they can kind of just be themselves in a time. Some people it's driving, some people it's taking a shower, some
My
people
shower
it's
as well, like,
yeah,
I'm like, I need my phone because I have the best ideas or the best conversations with myself in the shower and when I'm driving. I feel like a lot of people in Arizona actually don't like to drive, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's 20 minutes." I'm like, "I drove across the country to even get here." So, I love driving. I feel like if it's too short of a drive, I don't have enough time to listen to music, to decompress, to talk to myself.
yeah.
So, I don't know, and especially being out here, you see the mountains and everything, so
Where are
definitely
you originally from?
Illinois. So, like,
Okay.
35 minutes outside of Chicago. Not good weather.
No.
I don't do well in the cold. I never got used to it ever, and I grew up there. I spent 28 years there, and then coming out here, I was like, "No, this is where I belong. These are my people. This is the environment." Like, I love the sun, live, eat, and breathe the sun, but then also just the activity level out here is amazing compared to where I'm from.
So obviously the fitness is what really brought you out here in general.
No, so actually I worked when I was like 18, I was a personal trainer, and then I got into healthcare management at a physical medicine clinic. So I was like on the phone with insurance companies, getting patient verification for their benefits, review X-rays with them. I would do patient consultations. I would also help with like stretching and physical therapy, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. Like just being in Illinois, and I was like, there has to be something more for me because I also didn't go away to college. I did everything online, so I never experienced anything besides Illinois, and so it was pretty manic. I came out here to visit, this girl I was gonna possibly move in with, and then I went back home. This was in July. I went back home, I told my boss, I was like, "I'm leaving." I told my family, I was like, "I'm moving," so I quit my job and I moved out here without a job, and then I started coaching group fitness, and that was new because I only did one-on-one in Illinois, and then the group fitness, I was like, "Whoa, like, this is where I feel at home." But then in the back of my mind, I have I grew up very conditioned where, like, money is more important than happiness, and so I was like, "Well, I'm not making insane money anymore in group fitness," and I was like, "I should probably go back to doing that." So then I did, like, the same job out here in a physical medicine clinic, running the clinic, on the phone with insurance companies and all that fun stuff, and so I started doing that, and then once again, like, we had a canal in the back. It's in Gilbert, and I would cry every single day at lunch, and I would walk back inside, and my boss was like, Did you cry again?" I was like, "Yes." Like, I just knew I did not belong there, and I was so sick of living in that conditioned mind because also when I moved out here, so many people love their jobs. Like, I feel like where I'm from, it's very you go to high school, you go to college, you get married, you have kids, and you work a job that you don't like, but it provides for you.
Mhm.
And then after you retire, then you're like, "Okay, now I can live life."
Yeah.
I moved out here and everyone is living, they're entrepreneurs, they're doing literally what their soul is speaking to them to do. And so then July of last year, same thing. I was like, "I'm quitting my job. I'm gonna have nothing lined up." My boss was like, "You probably shouldn't do that." I was like, "I'm actually gonna go insane. Like, I know there is something out there for me. I just didn't know what it was." So I quit and then I drove to California for 4th of July with my friend and I just laid on the beach. I was crying. I was like, "Please tell me where I'm supposed to go." And then I started, because I've always been into fitness and the
Yeah.
gym. So then I started just asking everyone that was, like, coaching places, I'm like, "Are you hiring? Are you hiring?" And then I did an interview at one of the places I'm at now, and she she was like, "It's good, but, like, I can tell it's more." I came from, like, a one-on-one background, and so now, yeah, we're thriving. We're in a bunch of different group fitness places, and then the one-on-one clients as well, and I do wanna get online moving and grooving, but we're just taking it one step at a time.
I think it's great that you're finding the enjoyment like you were saying. Everybody out here is an entrepreneur and everybody loves what they're doing, but
Mhm,
you're finding what speaks to you the most.
mhm,
I think that's what was so difficult for our parents, our grandparents' society
most
then
definitely.
is they find the satisfaction in family creating the family.
Mhm,
And so the job's not necessarily has to be the forefront of things.
mhm.
I actually this is my last week at my current 9 to 5, and I start a
Love,
new job doing
congratulations.
performance coaching for youth kids.
Oh, I love that.
So, very excited. That's what I was doing back in Denver too.
Mhm,
But obviously, this is my passion
mhm,
project. This is what I wanna be doing long term.
mhm.
And so that's you shook a nerve when it came to the people just earn the money to earn the money and find a job that they don't like, but it makes money.
Mhm.
Whereas now, society in general, you can do whatever you want and make the money doing it.
100%. And the older like, I used to have a lot of resentment, I feel like, towards my parents, just the way I was brought up, but, like, not even in a bad way, but when I moved out here, I was like I just felt like everyone else had a different upbringing based off of the important things in life, and the older I get, the more I'm like, "Okay, no, they did the absolute best that they could with all that they knew." Like,
Yeah.
my dad's, like, first generation, my mom didn't go to college, and so, all the time, their mind was, "We need to make money, we need to put food on the table, we need to be able to pay the bills." And now it's way easier as well to make money. I mean, you can literally post videos of you eating and making
Yeah.
money, like, social media and just content creators, and so it is a whole new world, but yeah, once I moved out here, I was like, people are absolutely living in their soul's purpose, and everyone out here too is doing it in order to help other people as well. I swear Arizona's not real. Like,
Right.
I feel like I'm in a video game every single day. I'm like, "What do you mean I get to wake up and do what I love every day with the greatest community, with people that would do anything for everyone?" Like, yes, I guess, some competition, but I feel like where I'm from, everything's very, like, high school, catty. Like, the women, especially here, like, women supporting women, I've never experienced that, and it's a lot of my friends are in the same niche as me, and it's so nice, like, we can all host our own events. We can all support each other at our own events, even though we're literally doing the same thing with fitness or with our one-on-one clients or online.
That's, I brought this up a couple episodes ago where it comes from exactly what you're saying is you're helping other people in the same niches you're
Mm,
trying to be in.
mhm,
So you are literally helping your competition in a sense.
100%.
But the cool thing that I've noticed is the world's huge.
Mhm,
We have 6 million people in
mhm,
Arizona alone. So, yes, is there a gym on every single corner
mhm.
as if there used to be safe subways there?
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's huge. And so the saturation aspect really isn't there
right.
because you can have you can have 1,000 followers on social media and still be able to make six figures if you play your cards right in a sense.
100%. Yeah.
The perfect example for me is take someone with 1,000,000 followers on social media. There's 400 something million people in the US alone.
Mhm.
And so if you wanna play the saturation game, I I don't agree with that in a
Right.
sense. And so it's great. I think it's awesome in the sense that the other thing is I completely agree. Everybody here is willing to help others out.
Mhm.
My success is based off of other people's success, and so if I
Yes.
can pull them along,
Mhm,
then I'm gonna do just as well, and
mhm,
that's gonna be brought out in tenfold.
mhm.
And that's where I found the greatest group of friends as well
Yeah.
moving down here. I've almost been here for a year,
Mhm.
so it's been
Not
great.
even
The
that long,
citizens,
though.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a crazy shift so far.
I feel like I've been here it'll be 4 years in, like, a few weeks. I've lived 80 different lives.
Yeah,
It's the amount of experiences I've had in just a short amount of time is crazy. Like, I swear, like, Arizona's literally not real.
yeah,
I was just talking to people today though about I think that was one reason I really was scared to quit my job too, is because I'm like, everyone's a personal trainer here. Everyone does group fitness, everyone hosts events. But then I saw a video that was like, there is not one area that is oversaturated because the people that are meant to be in your life, the people you are meant to help will find their way towards you.
absolutely.
And everyone has their own little niche. I mean, I'm crazy, psycho, outgoing energy type vibe, and specific people will gravitate towards that, where I know I can be a lot for some people, so they'll go, towards someone else who they're gonna feel more comfortable
Yeah.
with. But, yeah, being here has been definitely the greatest experience of my life so far.
It's That's where you hit the nail on the head. The whole piece of marketing is
Mhm.
selling yourself, not what
Oh,
you can do.
100%.
The the biggest misconception that I see on social media is people always trying to sell a course, what
Mhm.
they do,
Mhm.
what they do,
Mhm.
and not who they are. That's the whole purpose
Yeah.
of this podcast too,
Yeah.
is separating what you do from who you are
Mhm.
for a self-identity aspect. But if we want to take it into a business building,
Mhm.
you can't just say, this is what I do, this is what I do.
Right.
Because they're gonna be like, well, the next person does that
Yeah.
and this person does the same thing.
100%.
So what makes you different?
Yeah.
So being able to really know who you are,
Mhm.
love who you are as well. Because
Mhm.
if you are half-assed in it
Mhm.
and you're playing this fake card and
Mhm.
putting a mask over your face,
Mhm.
people are gonna sniff it in a way that they're not gonna wanna buy it,
Right.
and all it really does for you is just it's detrimental for you. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if you love yourself more and more, then
Mhm.
you gravitate so many other people around you as
Most
well.
definitely. Dang it, wait, I forgot what I was just about to say. Oh, this is the year that I completely, I would say, finally threw my ego away. My entire life, all I cared about was people's opinions of me to the point where I would never be authentically myself. I've acted like 80,000 different people. I would dress a specific way. I would speak a specific way. And then this year I was like, I'm posting 3 times a day. Like, I don't care. I'm going to post anything that makes me feel good. And the amount of opportunities that I have gotten because of that is crazy. And I feel like, especially if you are in a world where you're trying to build a business and gain clientele, like you said, you have to be so unbelievably authentically yourself. And it is scary at first. I mean, it's scary putting yourself out there in the world and also posting because that's on there forever.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'll forget that people from high school follow me and I'll like look at who looked at my story. I'm like, like I wonder what they think about me now compared to who I used to be. Um, but yeah, putting yourself out there scary, but it is going to absolutely change your entire life, and then it's gonna change you as well, like, the
Yeah.
confidence that I've had from being authentically myself regardless, of what people's response is crazy, and, like, the amount of messages and DMs that I get from people, like, even men, they're like, "Thank you so much for posting this," or, "Thank you for being so open," like, all in all, at the end of the day, like, everyone is craving connection, we're craving, like, unity, and we're craving to be heard, and I think the world is going in that direction where people are becoming more comfortable with being themselves and being vulnerable, and I think, like, I love living in this time period right now.
I really like that you said that because there's so much content coming out there of everybody's divided
Mhm,
and your opinion means nothing because it's not my opinion.
mhm,
I think that's a huge difference that I've noticed in the year of living in Arizona is
mhm,
nobody really cares.
mhm,
There's a political side here for sure,
mhm,
but to the root of who people are, nobody cares that sense. They care about who you are specifically,
mhm,
and they're gonna gravitate towards your personality more than anything.
mhm,
And so I think that's one of the coolest pieces to being down here. I do think what you were just saying too is you wanting to conform into what other people's opinions were of you. I remember you had said something of being busy out of survival versus out of abundance.
mhm.
That I
Get that
was
tattooed on me.
that's where, that was a big piece that I had seen. So just go into that, the kind of before when you were living off of survival, and
Mhm.
then now where you really know who you are, so you're living off of abundance. Because I feel like your busyness hasn't really changed, it's just transitioned more.
100%, and it's more, like, meaningful
Mhm,
busyness. I would say even since I was younger, like, I would use drinking and partying and substances as a way of avoiding my feelings. I would stay busy because I hated being by myself. I think because 1, I just didn't like who I was as a human, and I would definitely feel worthless just based off of things I went through, and, like, I hated feeling my emotions because it made me feel weak, and I hated feeling weak because you know, people that I dated would just say that it's embarrassing for me to feel weak or whatever it was. But I would always use that, and then when I moved out here, I didn't do that as much, but I was, like, always on the go. No matter I was always trying to find new groups, and it wouldn't have been, like, bad things, I mean, it's like hikes and pickleball and things like that, but I knew in the back of my mind, I was always doing it because I wanted to avoid being alone with myself. And once I finally, I feel like, started to grow into this business or grow into this new season, now it's like a blessing to be busy. Like this morning, got to wake up, coach at a place, and then host an event with one of my friends. Like, and then lay out by the pool and now do this. Like, what? It's so beautiful that I'm able to be busy because it's things that I want to do and I know I'm meant to be doing. And I'm not filling my schedule just to fill a void. I'm able to be alone now without crashing out or getting upset or feeling worse about myself. I always would feel that if I was alone, it meant that I, like, didn't have a purpose in the world or I didn't have friends or connections, but now I know the importance of also I need my alone time because I am so nonstop, but it is so beautiful where I used to book my calendar so that I wouldn't have to sit alone with my thoughts. And now I'm booking my calendar because I am blessed enough to be able to help other people grow and evolve and just be in the most amazing, beautiful community where I know every time I go to an event or host an event or hang with a group, it's like we are doing it in order to help grow and evolve
mhm,
and not avoid our thoughts and our feelings and avoid the hard things.
yeah. It's the taking the correct approach to the lonely chapter in life.
Mhm. Yeah, I hated the feeling of being lonely. Like, it's just so I feel like soul sucking, and I think it's because even in friendships and relationships, I have felt alone before. So, like, feeling alone while you're still surrounded by people and then going home and feeling alone is like, it's just sad because at the end
Yeah,
of the day, like I just mentioned, like we are meant for connection and communication and friendships and relationships, regardless of what level that they're on. And when you crave that as a human, but you don't even like yourself first, I feel like then it's even impossible to make those connections. It's just like a constant cycle that you're trying to battle.
that alone while you're with people is definitely one of the scariest
Mm,
times in someone's life, and that's where that separation of the lonely chapter in life versus truly being lonely
Mhm,
is when you're in that lonely chapter, it's for a positive outcome.
mhm,
When you're truly lonely,
mhm,
it's hard to get out of it because it's all subconscious in a sense.
mhm,
And I think that's what also the piece of when it comes to being authentic with yourself, you got to realize that other people are more worried about themselves and there's so much more just internal on their own brain
mhm,
that the vision of you doesn't really matter to them.
mhm,
And so that's where it's stepping out. That's at least how I was able to step out of my loneliness chapter and into a healthier lonely chapter,
mhm,
because I also think that there is a positive aspect in a lonely chapter, and typically more on the relationship side of things too,
mhm.
taking the time of being on your own, not constantly jumping from relationship to relationship or even friendship to friendship groups.
Yeah,
Um, there's another piece. I mean, we just covered the power of community. Let happiness be something you practice, not something you postpone.
yeah. That I feel like when I started on, I guess you could say a healing journey, I always thought I had to have everything in order to feel any type of happiness, or I had to reach certain goals or certain milestones rather than one, just even be happy that you're alive and breathing, which is going to took me a minute to get there to even appreciate life to begin with. But I'm huge on your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake. And so even if you're not happy, try to be happy within those moments within your life on a day-to-day life, just so that you're able to rewire your brain in order to believe that you are happy. But you absolutely do not have to reach certain milestones. You don't have to have a certain status in your career, be in a certain relationship to feel happiness. You can feel happy because you woke up in the morning and made your bed when maybe
Yeah.
you've been laying in bed for the last 7 days crying and depressed. So that's something that really helped me, I think, also find gratitude in life is there is no end goal. I think that's another thing too, is I always thought once I, yeah, like reach a certain status or once I'm married and I have kids, like I made it, like that's it. So it's something where practice happiness within every single moment of your day and because you're worthy of it.
It's an interesting concept. When I was playing baseball, I definitely had when I get to college, I'm gonna
Mhm.
feel this way.
Mhm.
And when I got to
Yes.
college and was playing baseball in college, that was the worst 5 years of my life
Dang.
because I felt like I had arrived when I got there,
Mhm.
and when I got there, I realized I'm nowhere near where I'm supposed to be. And so I took that time of having to almost claw through to get to a point where I felt like I was able to reach this next milestone.
Mhm.
And so I was looking for All-American status and how many appearances I was going to have, how many strikeouts I was going to have in a
Mhm.
game or in a season.
Mhm.
And now that I've been out of the game since 2022, so 4 years now, I realize none of it matters.
Mhm.
What mattered more for me was developing who I was as a person, but also being able to experience all of the little things.
Mhm.
The the bus trips that were 16 hours,
Mhm.
and we had guys sleeping on the floor because they were so exhausted. We're
Yep.
literally like sardined all the way down the
Yep.
bus.
Yep.
The fun conversations of like we'd be stacked with 4 dudes in a hotel room, and we'd sneak a wee in for a weekend. So the next thing you know, the whole team's in there at 10:30 at night when we're supposed to have curfew, but we're playing Wii.
Mhm.
Those are the things that I took for granted at the time because I was so worried about
100.
the next day playing baseball and what my status looked like in terms of my performance.
Mhm.
And then that just turned into a spiral effect of a true existential crisis where I was struggling with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts post baseball.
Mhm.
So my last season, I couldn't sleep.
Mhm.
I would literally have like night terrors about poor performance on the baseball field, as if that even mattered.
Right.
And it then started feeding into daily life. I fail an exam. I
Mhm.
don't get into a school for graduate program. I end up dead broke with no wife and no kids in the future. I'm living on the street.
Mhm.
I would take it all the way to the point of on my deathbed, I'm visualizing my deathbed at 24 years old,
Yeah.
23 years old, and being like, "I'm not gonna amount to anything."
Mhm.
And it's crazy that people think that. You
Mhm.
like, in your 20s, none of us have any of this figured out,
Mhm.
and it's just an interesting concept that to this day, people still feel like they need to arrive somewhere when you're already there because you're alive and you're breathing and you're doing things.
I think society puts a load on us and social media.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this today, me and my friends, like how everyone just posts like their highlights of their life and like their goals and the accomplishments. But I don't know if it's everyone's parents, but I do feel like there was pressure to, since I was a child, I have felt the pressure to perform. But that's also because I wasn't getting the love and validation that I wanted, and so I feel like I've been conditioned since I was a kid that if I perform well in sports, in school, in work, whatever it may be, and people notice it and appreciate it, that is when I will get the love and validation, and in, like, work and everything, like, I became a psycho perfectionist. I had to be good at I couldn't even start something new because if I failed, I would have absolutely spiraled, and I do think we have so much pressure on us as a society to be the best at absolutely everything that we do in order to get validation, when, like you said, all in all, the end of the day, like, the most important thing is do what you love,
Mhm.
have good connections, good communication.
Social media is definitely a big key because it puts everybody on the forefront,
Mhm.
and next thing you know, you're comparing everything with everybody,
Mhm,
and then when you're trying to look for validation yourself back then, 30, 40 years ago, there was still external validations, but it's only coming from your parents and your peers
mhm,
in a small circle. Now it's global.
mhm,
If I have 500,000 followers, now I have to so-called perform for 500,000 people
mhm,
and get the validation from them. And it's not sustainable in a way. It goes back to the roots of, well, if I do well in this game, then my parents are going to be proud of me and they're going to love me. If
mhm,
I ace this test, then my family's going to be proud of me.
mhm,
If I do this really cool thing with my friends, then I'm going to get a girlfriend.
mhm,
It's like equating all of these key performance index KPIs
mhm,
to your results and the goals that you want to set instead of I'm a better person because these are the values that I hold.
mhm,
I can communicate well with other people. I know what it's like to be in a situation so I can empathize with people, and that's where you can build your communities
mhm,
better. And I think there's the good and bad and more of a gray area now that we're getting into where people are starting to understand that what you do really doesn't dictate anything. You can be successful still.
mhm,
We can still have those success pieces, but falling in love with the process of everything is way more important at the end of the day.
mhm.
What is sad? SAD.
Stay another day. So that this is a topic I'm very excited to talk about. I feel like because 'cause I'm on the other side now, but I originally saw it, some girl created, like, a sweatshirt brand, that said that, and I was like, "Oof, I absolutely love that." So, stay another day basically relates to not following through with any type of commitment with suicide, and I was just talking to my friends about this today. I have thought about death since I was a literal child, like, I thought it was normal, and okay, we could maybe go into some other area, but basically, I just remember always like, I'm not scared of dying, I am scared of how I would die, but I have always thought about dying,
Mhm.
and then in 7th grade, I remember it was, like, right before school, and I, like, wrote my first suicide letter, and I was like, "This, like" I just never felt worthy, I feel like, and then I wrote the letter, and me and my mom got in a fight that morning, and I was about to walk to school, and I was like, "Just so you know, like, I'm not coming home." And, typical. She's like, "What are you talking about?" And so then I was like, "Well, just go look at the letter." And so she found the letter, and then she like called me and she's like screaming, crying. She's like, "You can't, like come home after school, blah, blah, blah." And so obviously I never did anything. But then I think because I had that lack of worthiness, I stepped into relationship after relationship after relationship into just like events that I shouldn't have been in, but it's all I felt I was worthy of, and it's like all I knew. And then it'd be like a few months I'd be fine, and then I'd write another one, and then a few months I'd be fine. But something I feel like would scream at me and tell me, like, just remember, like, pleading on the ground and being like, "Should I do this? Should I do this?" And I don't even know how to describe the voice, but it was like, "No." And so I would rip out the letter, and this just continued for years. Um, and then when I saw that girl's thing about, the stay another day, I was like, "Okay, no, I do feel like I need to speak on this." And then when I posted it, my mom actually called me about it, and she was like, "I thought it was just like a one-time thing. Like, how have you thought about this like your whole life?" And I was like, "Isn't this normal? Like, doesn't everyone think about this?" My mom was like, "I've never once thought about that." And I was like, "Well, that's all I've ever thought about because I feel like I am such a good person, but, like, bad things kept happening to me. Now that I'm out of it, I realize it's because it was patterns and cycles that I just kept stepping into because that's all I knew, I guess, with my conditioned mind." But, um, okay, this might be this is probably gonna be the craziest thing that I say, and I was thinking of making a video on it, but I believe that every single time I have let me start over. I believe we live multiple lifetimes. Feel like I know for a fact that I've been here before. And I believe that this is the lifetime that I break all of my karmic cycles. And I believe every single time that I have written a suicide letter at that age, that's the age that I decided to actually follow through with it in previous lifetimes. And I feel like that's why this time I have not been able to follow through with it because I am meant to live past all the depression and live past all of that. And I feel like I am meant to advocate for others that do feel that way. But like I said, I have felt so close to death for so long, and it was such a normal thought process that now I would say maybe like a year and a half it's been like the first time since I was a child that I haven't thought about it, like haven't written a letter or anything.
You and I have very similar backgrounds and
Yeah.
childhoods.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I remember I grew up in a semi-religious household.
Mhm.
My mom and I would pray a lot before going to bed, and there was a lot of times where it's like, I don't wanna die, and the
Mm,
prayer was, "Now I lay my head to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take."
mm.
And that used to give me true panic attacks as a child.
Really?
And
Because did you
so
think you were gonna die in your sleep?
yep. So every time it was almost like conditioning my brain to think like, I could die.
Yeah,
I'm 6 years old, I could die tomorrow or
yeah.
tonight while I'm
Mhm,
sleeping." And so there would be times where I would be terrified to fall asleep.
mhm,
And I think that was the thing when I was going through my therapy and trying to navigate where the thoughts were really coming from, that was a piece that I had found
mhm,
and realized that it was literally like a classical conditioning
mhm.
piece of every single night saying that and then being like, "I could die at any moment." And
Did
so
you
it's
remember that all throughout these years that you used to do that? Or when
yeah,
you were in
there's
therapy, did you
I I stopped it's crazy. I stopped saying that prayer a year after baseball.
Oh, really?
So when I first started going through, like, true weekly therapy, getting very in-depth on things, it was a year after after baseball.
Mhm,
Same kind of realm, I had completely lost myself. I tagged my identity towards sports
mhm,
my entire life. I've always played a sport. I picked
Mhm.
baseball for the longest, so when that was over, I was like, "Oh, I have no idea what I'm gonna do now."
I can't even imagine. I think about that all the time with athletes, is how you
It's
feel so empty.
yeah, it's a big shift
Mhm,
because for your whole life, the only thing that you train for
mhm,
is for something that is active and something that ties you to winning a game, having your stats, winning a championship. Like, I went to my Division II program. We're the winningest D2 program since 2010. We made it to the national championship in 2019. We lost 3-1, and, like, that was the peak of my time as a baseball player
mhm.
was that year and the year following. Well, the year following was COVID. So, I
No.
was on track. I had stats to for sure be all conference, probably all region, and potentially all American,
Mhm.
and 5.5 weeks in, our season got shut down. And
That's
so
crazy.
that was that first the year after COVID was that first kinda hit towards my mental health.
Mhm,
I started having injuries and wasn't throwing as well, wasn't throwing as hard, and so I was equating everything of my identity on that,
mhm.
and every night I would use that prayer, and so,
Would you still have the same reaction as when you were a kid?
yeah, a lot of times. There were some times where I kinda felt at peace with it,
Mhm,
but it was usually after a good performance on
mhm,
the field,
mhm,
um, and so I stopped doing that prayer and instead just flipped it to everything that I was thankful for and grateful for in that day and thanking God for what was provided for me in that day.
mhm,
And since then, that's all I've done.
mhm,
And it's completely changed everything. I feel like living in the abundance world now has been so amazing because all I'm looking for is what's gonna be abundant for me.
mhm.
Not what am I afraid of because those are gonna pop up
Right,
anyways,
right.
but what's the abundance that I get out of it?
Mhm,
And I brought it up a couple times with some other people of going back into our past and the things that happened to us and how we didn't really deserve them, but they happened, and like you just said, you were conditioned to do it,
mhm,
and so I kinda take that as you're trying to still almost knock yourself in a way,
mhm,
when really it's you deserved everything that happened to you because what it's done is brought you to where you are now.
mhm,
You're able to inspire all the people in your extremely busy days
mhm.
to gravitate so many more people around you, and you're able to use that background, whereas if that never happened,
Right. And
then there's nothing to give.
I always had that victim mindset. I'm like, "Why me?" Like I said, like, I was like, "Dude, I'm a good person. I haven't done anything bad." I was like, "I must have done something bad, and this must be my karma for something in a previous life." But yeah, now I totally understand why I did go through certain things, and now it's nice being on the other side because I'm more open-minded to when things do happen. I understand it is gonna be for the greater good, and I do genuinely believe that I'm meant to be a vessel to other humans in this lifetime. I think we all are meant to do that. But there's something about I've never been, I think, more self-aware or more sure as to why I was put on this earth and what my purpose is, and now I am fine with sometimes the character development's a lot. I'm like, "Can I have a chill pill for a second?" But I'm fine because I'm like, "Okay, I feel like I'm meant to go through this so I can help other people." A lot of people, when you're in an abusive relationship and people are like, "Why don't you just leave?" It's one of those things where I was like, "I'm already taking the brunt of all of this, like, I would rather just continue to take it than someone else." And I feel like that correlates back to understanding that every single thing you go through, you use it to help evolve yourself, but, like, there's gotta be someone out there that needs your words of wisdom. There's gotta be someone out there that you are meant to aid within their journey, and it's a lot. Like, there are times I wish I could go back to being so ignorant to everything. I wish I could go back to being emotionless. There were times I, like, couldn't even get myself to cry, and now I cry 24/7, 365 over beautiful things, over sad things. I'm just I'm much more emotional now. Um, but once you do, I feel like realize that everything you are going through is for a greater good, not just for you, but for other people, you're more accepting of it happening.
Yeah, it's you feel your feelings.
Yeah, and it's scary.
Yeah,
It's scary because before in the past when I would feel my feelings, they were so dark and deep, it would take me out. And especially too, with the drinking and the substances and the partying, and so it was scary being like, "Oh my god, I need to feel this." What do they say? In order to get through it, you
yeah,
must
pretty much.
feel it, or
Yeah.
whatever that phrase is.
In order to get through this, I need to feel
Mhm.
almost feel my way through it, and that's the
100%.
process of feeling your feelings too,
Yeah.
is it's not ruminating in the feeling itself and
Mhm.
being stuck. There's so many times with people who have alcoholism or substance abuse that they use it as a vice, but they're feeling the feeling without understanding what's going on.
Mhm.
So there's an ignorance piece to it. It's
Mhm.
not a knock to anyone in a sense, but
Right.
it's just not being able to understand what's going on in your surroundings.
Oh, 100%, and I've been there. I've also been, like, so surface level with conversations and just with myself because I didn't even know who I was as a person. That's
Yeah.
another thing. When you go through trauma, you either shut down or I was constantly in fight or flight, and so my only thoughts every single day was, "How do I protect myself?" Now, once I'm out of the fight or flight and you learn who you are as a human, you know what triggers you, you know how to help heal yourself, but until you get to that position or that feeling, it sucks feeling your
Mhm.
feelings.
It's an uncomfortable piece, but then
Mhm,
when you break out of feeling the vast negatives that are going on,
mhm,
you're
mhm.
starting to able to enjoy the
Yeah,
positives,
yeah.
and I took Feeling Your Feelings from Chris Bumstead
Mhm,
because I watched him since 2019,
mhm,
and being able to watch a character development from him was one thing, but being able to understand the why aspect of, well, I felt the same way when I was playing baseball.
mhm,
I was more relieved that the game was over and that my inning was over,
mhm,
any of that, than I was about actually getting to play a child's game.
mhm,
And so feeling your feelings is feeling the good, feeling the bad, processing them both in a full way, because
mhm.
if you numb the bad, you numb the good.
110%. It is crazy now, though, when something does upset me or I do get triggered, like, the fact that I can have a conversation with myself and, like, take a breath, like, "Why do you feel this way?" And then also, I was conditioned to, like, "Don't cry, that makes you weak." And so now it's like, "No, it's okay to cry, but let's bounce back a little bit quicker
Yeah,
than we have in the
yeah.
past." But just learning to navigate your feelings and learning, like, we are literal human beings, like, it's okay to feel. And I think my idea of healing is I was like, "Oh, things are always gonna be amazing, rainbows and butterflies," and then if I was upset about something or I was triggered, I was like, "Oh my god, all my healing is, like, thrown out the window." Like, no, this is actually good because now you're able to understand what your triggers are, feel them, and then this is gonna prove if your healing has actually worked because however you react is basically gonna show, like, how much you've learned.
Do you think some of the inability to feel the feelings comes from a place of fear of actually having to feel them?
Yeah. I feel like I mean, for me personally, there was a lot. It was the conditioning of "Don't cry."
Yeah.
All I ever knew was anger. I was never taught how to properly feel feelings or properly control my sadness. My sadness was rage. And then being in an abusive relationship, like physically abusive, all I knew was rage. And like when we would argue, I would scream bloody murder and then I was crying because like I physically did not know how to handle my emotions. And then being in relationships after that, I would scream bloody murder if we had like a disagreement and they were both like what are we do why are we yelling? And then if they wouldn't yell back, I would be like, "You don't love me." Like, all I knew with feeling feelings was anger, and I hated it. Like, even driving, if someone, made, like, the smallest error or they cut me off or, like, whatever it was, It would ruin my entire day. That's another thing too, is I would let my anger just carry on.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, then I would shut down because I hated feeling angry. And so then I was like, well, I'm just not going to feel anything at all.
Layla Hormozi has a great
Love her.
example of this when she was working with her businesses and somebody would come to her with really bad news.
Hmm.
She's like, I could sit here and be really pissed off and like bring
Yes.
everybody into the room and just scream at everybody.
Yeah.
Or I can internally be like, and then be like, no, we're good. We're going to fix
Right.
it. We're going to figure it out.
Hmm.
And so I think that's a crazy thing too, is you can feel the things that are going on and be really angry,
Hmm.
but you can quickly be like, this doesn't serve me.
Yep.
Let's figure it out.
Hmm.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And like, I think when it comes to especially bad news or bad situations, bad circumstances, being able to have that quick switch there allows you to be like, we're in a really good spot now. Like,
Hmm.
I can sit here and actually enjoy this for a second.
Yes.
So it's the feelings is like, you're going to feel that feeling of the low
Hmm.
for enough time to be like, this doesn't serve me. I don't need to be here. So
Hmm.
that you can actually get to the top and
Hmm.
feel the really good pieces and be like, I'm going to chill here for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. There's
And
nothing better than seeing your progress
yeah,
with your reactions.
it's, uh, it's something that took me a very long time, but
Hmm.
I've enjoyed it so much more recently,
Hmm.
and being able to enjoy the little things for a lot longer instead of
Oh,
just,
yeah.
like, glossing over stuff.
And I just feel like I can breathe
Yeah.
more. Sometimes I feel like I healed too much because I almost don't have any reaction sometimes, and I'm like, "Am I just, like, super chill going with the flow right now, or should I be feeling something?" But I'd much rather be on this side. I mean, I have punched holes in walls. I have done, like, crazy, insane anger shit, and sorry, can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's an explicit tag on Spotify, though, nobody cares.
okay.
Um, what what were or are the signs that you kinda see most common in abusive relationships?
What are the signs that I can tell it's gonna turn abusive or
I guess, what were the ones when you were going through your relationships,
Uh-huh.
the the toxic and abusive ones, when was it a point where, like, starting to catch on this to the signs either that they were doing and it's like, "I don't wanna be part of this anymore," or even pieces that you were contributing to in a sense?
Okay, well, I will say I unfortunately thought I didn't wanna be part of things, but never stepped away from it when I should have. Um, my first boyfriend in high school cheated on me, and it was just downhill from there.
Yeah,
But the physically abusive one was okay, again, I don't wanna say one of the things,
that's okay.
but, I would say within a few months. I'm trying to remember the exact timeline, but when we met, we were in a major, major party phase, and we would go to raves all the time, and it was just like our relationship was built on partying,
Mhm.
and then there was one specific time, I don't remember why we were arguing, it had to be, like, a few months in, and I was sitting in my car at his apartment, and I don't remember what it was about, but he started choking me out, like, he was standing, outside of the car, and I was sitting in the car, and I just remember being like, I've never experienced that, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, this is about to be so bad," but I was already didn't have worth going into it, and I was already too I think what I wanted to do is prove to myself that I could also change people, but I remember in that moment I, like, drove away and I was like when I was driving, I was like, "Oh my god, like, I think this is about to be the worst relationship ever," but I, for some reason, just couldn't leave, and then thing after thing after thing just kept happening, and then it comes to the point where it was my life, and I was embarrassed, I didn't wanna tell people, I tried to play it cool, but we were the type where, when it's uncomfortable when 2 people are, like, being too sarcastic to each other, and it's
Mhm.
like, you guys are supposed to literally be in love, creating a life
Yeah.
together, and we would throw shots at each other, and then, like, people would, like, question and be like, "You guys good?" But, I just remember in the car the first time and I was like, "Well, I don't wanna leave for some reason," and I stayed there for over 3 years. And, other relationships I've been in at the first sign, I couldn't. I literally couldn't leave, and it's because I had insane attachment issues to validation. Like, if I've always either been in long-term relationships or, unfortunately, like, hooking up with multiple people at once. I've never been with just myself because all I wanted specifically was male validation. Because I feel like I didn't get it growing up,
Mhm.
from my dad, and so every time there was toxic situations, I was kind of addicted to it, and so I just wouldn't leave, and then when you just pick the same type of people, the abuse, it doesn't matter, like, I've only had one physically abusive, and then the other ones I just feel like were mentally and emotionally, but I craved it. Like, when there was calm, cool, collected energy, I was bored. Like, when they say find c like, I found comfort in chaos. Like, I would wake up and, I mean, I would not wanna obviously get abused, but if it happened, like, it set off the craziest chemical in my brain, and it was like, "All right, let's see, can I get out of this safely? How long is this going to last?" But I unfortunately never stepped away when I should have. Except I don't know what changed in my physically abusive relationship, but there was one day I woke up and I was like, "I'm so done with this." And so I kind of, like, manipulated him into breaking up with me because I we wouldn't be intimate. I wouldn't, like, hug him or kiss him or anything, and it pissed him off to the point where he ended up breaking up with me. And then, I just, like, felt a sense of freedom, but then I moved back home, and that is just when, like, so many your brain just goes a million miles a
Yeah.
minute, and it's just, like, the abuse doesn't stop. Like, I had to end up getting a restraining order, um, but then I what did I do after that? Jumped right into another relationship, and then I brought trauma into that. He was not really good in relationships as well. And then that one I was able to end easily, but then, yeah, I would just go from person to person, like, because I didn't even like myself, I didn't know who I was as a human. Um, Not gonna lie, I don't remember the original question.
No, you're fine. It was kind of the signs that you see, but I like I love the vulnerability, so first off, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, what I will say is it's crazy what classical conditioning will
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
I mean, when we initially took it from Pavlov's dogs of a dinner bell making people hungry,
Yeah.
it happens in relationships.
Mhm.
It's I think one of the things that you see most common is whatever you were brought up without, you crave, and
Mhm.
then you get to a point of craving it when every time you see it, and I think that's where some people get lucky because they just find someone good right off the beginning,
Mhm.
and they're able to crave all of that good,
Mhm.
and then some people crave the bad because it's
Mhm.
all you've been shown.
Mhm.
And so when you do see something different, and especially in the sense of like cool, calm, relaxed, a way that's I can settle here, I can
Mhm.
have kids in a good environment,
Mhm.
I can actually like have a family and feel good. No, that's not normal.
Right.
And so it's
100%.
like that's almost when it's like the alarm bells are going off like,
Mhm.
"No, no, no, this isn't what love is supposed to be.
Mhm.
Love is supposed to be the
Screaming
screaming
and
matches and the physical bouts from
mhm.
time to time. Like, that's what love is."
Mhm.
And obviously, it's a shame,
Mhm.
but there does come a time where I feel like growing up, you start to realize and what I found from a lot of it was just learning in the time being on my own, what other relationships look like,
Mhm.
and being able to see that third party, what a good relationship looks like and what a bad relationships look
Mhm.
like, and I can pick, "Okay, these are the values that I wanna align
Most
to
definitely.
more."
And I think after my most recent relationship, I was like, I'm literally done with men and I need to figure out who I am because I had no idea who I was as a human being. And I'm was definitely not perfect in the relationships as well too. Like I would bring in my trauma or my anger or my insecurities, my trust issues. So I definitely knew if I ever wanted to be in a healthy relationship, like, I had to fix myself to the core as well, and, like, these last few years, year and a half has been, like, figuring out who I am as a human being has been, like, the most amazing, beautiful experience, but I would not have been able I know I had to go through all those relationships, like, I know that's what this journey was meant to teach me. Holy crap, I wouldn't wish any of that on anyone. But, yeah, now I feel much better about who I am and, like, what I could actually bring
Do
and what I
you
will tolerate.
I'll bring up kind of a so I, for the longest time, was a very modern relationship looking person, and it got me to a point where I felt like I was being very submissive in a lot of things that I was doing, not only in a relationship sense,
Mhm,
but in friendships
mm,
and wanting other people to do things for me
mhm,
and not taking initiative on a lot of things, not being strong-willed and a good man in terms of my values, being like, "Well, their values are good enough. I'll just morph to theirs." And over time of being on my own, I found the more traditional route isn't what it's supposed to be. It's what I've seen it as is finding exactly who you are,
mhm,
because when you get into a relationship, there's gonna be some things that you have to give up in a sense to morph into a relationship that becomes a whole new soul.
mhm,
And the traditional route is usually like man's provider, woman is the caregiver.
mhm,
There's times for that based
mhm,
off of true, like, chemical balances in our brains of how men interact versus how women interact. Those things are just that's part of biology for us.
mhm,
But in the root piece of it, if you don't know who you are, you
mhm.
can never be in a healthy relationship with another person that also knows who they are.
Oh, 100%. I always thought you know how they say, um you can't love someone until you love
Love
yourself.
yourself.
I was always like, "No, that's not true," because I try to overly love people so they never feel, like, sad and abandoned the way that I did, but when it comes down to it, like, I couldn't love on the level of depth that people needed me to love them on because in my subconscious, I hated myself, I was insecure, and so, like you said, being in that alone time is, like, this is a wild ride, like, figuring out who you are as an individual so that, like you said, you can come together because 'cause you're a freaking team, like, it shouldn't be I've had so much competitions in relation like, why am I competing with my boyfriend? Like, why are we not elevating and pushing each other
Yeah.
up into, the highest versions of ourselves? But I do agree, I used to have very traditional, like, all I wanted to do was be a stay-at-home mom, I wanted 6 kids and stuff growing up, and now I just think, yes, they need to be your best friend and you need to be, a team, but you are also individuals. My attachment, issues in the past, insane. I would not want to do anything without them. Like, in relationships, I've given up friends just so I could spend every second with them. I have stopped working out just so I could spend, like, every second, and it's like I already came in as a broken human, and
Yeah.
then I just broke myself even more trying to it's not even like they wanted me to prove myself to them, but just trying to juggle not liking yourself and also trying to build a relationship, it's not possible, especially with someone who is way more emotionally mature and developed than you are.
I feel when it comes to that route where one person is very emotionally mature,
Mhm,
ready to settle down, and the other one is not,
mhm,
that's the butting head piece of this person's really good.
mm.
They can create a healthy relationship out of an unhealthy relationship, but the other person can never see that.
Yeah.
So regardless of how good the relationship actually is, that
Mhm,
person who's more emotionally immature is
mhm,
gonna constantly combat in their brain on paper
Mhm,
and in the eyes of other people, it could look perfect.
mhm,
And even in the eyes of the person who is more emotionally mature and understands exactly what is going on and
mhm.
has the right communication styles and has the adequate time on their own versus time with
Yeah,
their significant other,
yeah.
the other person who's just emotionally unavailable or emotionally immature
Mm,
is constantly combating themselves,
mhm.
and so therefore combating the relationship. And
100%.
that's where I was talking when it comes to giving up a part of you to be in a relationship.
Mhm,
It's not giving up who you are,
mhm,
but it's giving up pieces. It's not giving up pieces, it's sharing pieces,
mhm,
is how I should say it.
mhm,
You're sharing pieces with somebody
mhm,
that also is able to share pieces of them with you
mhm,
so that you can create this third being
mhm,
that combats everything.
mhm,
I love the sense of the "it's you, me versus the world" concept,
mhm, mhm.
because when you truly have that mindset going into relationship,
Yeah.
nothing is going to break that chain.
110%. And I've never had that mindset until recently, and because of how insecure I was. Like, I would the overthinking kills in relationships, especially with someone who is, like I said, more emotionally mature. But now, the more I heal and, like, the older I get, like, the more, like, I feel like I would cherish a relationship. I think I've never cherished relationships because I was yes, like, I loved them, but, like, I was in it because, like, I couldn't be alone. I was in it because I needed validation. I was in it because, like, I just keep coming back to, like, I hated being alone, and now, yeah, the more I heal, the more I'm like, "No, like, that should be your freaking ride or die best friend. You go through the fires together, like, you guys do absolute life together." I always think I imagine, like, relationships had to be perfect, and since I was never in a perfect relationship, I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna settle for whatever is happening right now," which now I know, like, no relationship is perfect. It's just 2 people that wanna fix it. That's
Yeah,
what makes it seem perfect
yeah,
because at the end of the day, you're 2 individuals, like, you're not always gonna agree, and especially if you have people that come from traumatic backgrounds, like, I feel very healed right now, but I could get into a relationship and be triggered over something, like, I don't even think about
yeah.
on a day-to-day basis, which is a whole other thing to get into is, like, I don't think you have to heal alone. I think,
I don't think you should have to heal alone, is the
yes,
big thing.
100%. I mean, there's times, like, I should not have been jumping into relationship after relationship, but there's times where I feel like a person might come into your life to be the missing piece in order to help aid you on
Mhm.
the healing journey, where that was another thing I always thought. I was like, "I'm never gonna get in a relationship again and get married because I will never be fully healed." Ain't nobody ever gonna be fully healed,
No.
especially in a relationship manner
Yeah.
because, like, you are asking almost, if you're in a relationship, for someone to kinda test you, and it's not even like they're doing it on purpose, but, like, sharing a life with someone, like, you're gonna be tested with one another.
There was a saying that I used to see all the time, and this was, of course, when I was in a relationship, and it was, "I'm giving you my entire heart
Mhm.
and allowing you the ability to stab it,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna trust that you never
100%.
do that."
Mhm.
And that's where that true form of love can take a place,
Mhm.
but not necessarily always a healthy form of love too.
Mhm.
What do you think of dating apps?
Um, I've definitely used them for lots of attention and hangouts, but I think it depends on how healed you are and
Yeah,
what season of life you're in. I know so many people they've met on Hinge and they're married
yeah.
and or they're in, like, an amazing relationship. I feel like nowadays too, everyone is so busy building their own lives and building their own business, and a lot of people work from home, and if they're not out in the community and stuff, like, I do feel like there are a lot of good with it. I just would use it for not good.
It's, I've found it as overstimulation with variety.
Mhm,
There's a book that I was reading recently, and of course, can't remember the name of it, but so in the book, it's talking in the sense of like building your business or building your career status in a way
Mhm.
and feeling like you're stuck in the middle of an ocean where instead you're like at a farmer's market with jars of jam
Mhm.
and going from like one that has a lot and too many options to choose from, you start freaking out versus one that has like two or three.
Mhm.
And so that was a kind of a piece that I see with dating apps from the male perspective is there's a lot of variety
Mhm.
to swipe through
Mhm.
that it just becomes a point of they're cute, they're not, they're not. Oh, this one's cute, and then you kinda scroll down, and it's like, "Oh, but they have 4 dogs."
Mhm.
Kinda just, like, little things, and so next thing you know, you're picking a choice
Mhm.
off of somebody you don't even know.
100%. That's the thing. The prejudgment of everyone on there, and I mean, I'm such like a organic, like, community person, and I mean, half the time on there, people could be so fake, and then you meet them in
Yeah,
person, and you're like, "We just talked for 2 weeks before meeting. I gave you, like, so much of my energy, and now it's like you're nothing of what I expected you to be." Didn't Alex and Layla meet on a dating app?
I think so.
And I think she kept, like, saying no because she was so busy or something, and then they went for ice cream. Um, that just reminded me of it when you talked about her earlier, but, I mean, I think if you can use it to your everything in the world. You can either
Yep.
use it to your advantage or you can overly use it so that you're not using it in a proper manner. But I'm just such, like, a community, like, let me meet you out in person type girly.
I think apps, social medias, all of these things were everything now is being created I in a way for easy access.
Mhm, most definitely.
I need food, DoorDash, here we go.
Yeah.
I need a relationship, I need this validation from a human being, I
Mhm,
need this sexual tension to go away, I'm
mhm,
gonna use an app,
mhm,
instead of being able to build the strong concrete.
mhm,
And the other issue is we are so much busier beings than people were 30, 40, even
mhm,
10 years ago.
mhm,
Everything is so rapid pace and it's hard to take that time to just sit back and be able to get to learn from somebody and
mhm,
grow with somebody in a sense. And so there's obviously the goods and bads.
mhm,
Honestly, I see more cons to the dating apps than
mhm,
positives, but it's also a lottery system. You
mhm,
know, there's people who they go to a casino and they win every time,
mhm,
and that's just the luck of the draw for them. And there's
mhm,
people who have lost their houses.
mhm,
And so it's also just, I guess, a form of perspective,
mhm,
but the research mind in me
mhm,
has seen the numbers and it's crazy. I think another thing is like we were saying is initial attraction versus true like relationship quality.
mhm,
And I think the best relationships are the ones that started off as friendships or
mhm.
you really got to know them before committing into
I
something.
ain't never done that before, ever. I was like, "Well, let's just
See where it
let's just
goes.
see." Yeah. Horrible, horrible.
But it's hard because sometimes that's just how the situation arises too.
Yeah.
So I grew up being friends with more girls and guys, and I think it came from I had my time at sports where I was only around dudes
Yeah.
and it was condensed, and then I
Mhm,
was at school with like only dudes. So then it got to a point where it was like I loved hanging out with the boys all the time, but it's fine to step into
mhm,
the side of, like, being friends with women.
mhm.
That was another question that I was gonna say is, do you think men and women can truly be platonic friends?
Yes, I actually am very glad that we talked about this. Um, I have never my guy friends right now, and I tell them all the time, are the most amazing human beings, like, I've ever met in my life, and I've never had relationships with guys on this level, I would say, as friends. In the past, yes, I we would either be hooking up
Mhm.
or I was in long-term relationships, so there's no point in me trying to gain a bunch of new guy friends, and I truly think like, I can't even explain the amount of guy friends that I have right now that are just, like, so like, soft, kind, and gentle, and we're, like, in this giant, like, kickball group, and they'll do, like, any like, it's just I don't know if it's because in relationships I mean, some have been good, but I just don't know if I've had lower expectations of men, where maybe everything all my guy friends are doing right now is like, no, that's like a normal human being, that's what they should be doing,
Yeah.
but, like, they are just willing to do anything for all us girls right now without any expectations, and I genuinely never thought guys and girls could be friends on that level, and I cannot imagine my life without any of these guys right now, and I know we would, like none of us would ever cross any type of boundaries.
And it's amazing to hear stories like that because there's so many people and for a long time I've been on the fence. You know,
Mhm,
some of my best friends that I still have to this day are girls
mhm,
and women now.
mhm.
And some of the guys that I hung out with growing up, I never even speak to anymore.
Right.
And so like I've always become closer with them. I
Mhm,
also growing up was much closer with my mom.
mhm,
So like being around a female presence for me was always a normal
mhm,
where you see the more, I guess, masculine men in the presence of I'm gonna be around women because of this, and it's
mhm,
all subconscious at the
mhm,
end of the day. Where I think there's times where it can be kind of awkward in a sense to be hanging out with someone of the opposite gender because there might be some weird connection going on that's just not talked about.
mhm.
But I think that's also where the key concept comes from is communication at the end of the
100%.
day and
Mhm,
truly being on page. There was a piece that I had said or I had written down here that 81% of women say yes to being able to have platonic friends and only 58% of men say yes
really? I would think guys would be more chill with it.
because it's men are more commonly to think that their female counterparts are
Oh,
into them
yeah.
in some way. And so a lot of guys will want to stick around and be friends just in
Yeah.
case like 2, 3 years down the road even, there might be something to come
Mhm,
out of it. And for the longest time, I didn't understand that because 'cause I've never really been that way.
mhm,
Like, the women that I dated, that was, like, the only person that I would ever have my eyes set
mhm,
on,
most
and
definitely.
usually it was a little bit easier to start dating the one person I was looking for.
Mhm,
And then over time, I think really choosing this chapter to really be on my own and figure out what I actually want out of
mhm,
a spouse
mhm,
and a mother to my kids and somebody that I can, like, build my team with.
mhm. Build
I
my team.
that's where I want a baseball team. It's probably I was one that was, like, terrified of kids,
You
but it
ready
was
to start this team,
always
babe?
really good with kids. But I think it does go back to, like, I grew up in a team in some sport
Mhm.
for
Oh,
my
no, most
entire life.
definitely.
And so it's like I've seen so much of the positive aspects of, like, having a team.
Mhm,
And so, like, I view it as, like, I don't even wanna have a relationship, I wanna have a team
mhm,
and have the, like, the deep-rooted connections that I can have in that and being able to call it a team.
mhm,
And maybe it's because a relationship is, like, in my mind, putting this subconscious piece of, like, these, like, crazy expectations, whereas, like,
mhm,
a team, it's like we have a goal as a family, as a team to be able to, like, accomplish what we wanna accomplish,
mhm,
and we don't have to have all of these, like, crazy ties to it.
mhm,
Whereas I feel like in my past relationships is, like, there's always some sort of hidden agenda
mhm.
or there's miscommunications
Yeah.
because you don't wanna hurt them because you're in a
Mhm,
relationship and you don't want to have the conversation that could strain the relationship.
mhm.
Whereas, like, teammates, we fight all the time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, ride or die, no matter what, you cross
100%.
that
It's
line
like I don't
and,
have
like
sisters, but I'm assuming that's what it's like to
yeah,
have sisters where you're fighting over clothes, but, like, that's your girl.
yeah. That was my brother and I for the longest time growing up of we hated each other up
Yeah.
until high school when we started playing sports together on the
Mhm,
same team.
mhm,
And it's like once that happened and we were actual teammates,
mhm,
everything changed in our
mhm.
relationship.
Yeah,
So I think that's just kinda where I equate everything.
yeah. I think the important thing about, like, platonic friendships too, like, if I brought a boyfriend into my guy friend group, like, I know they would be, like, super chill and, like, welcoming, and I think that's the important key aspect to it too. But I mean, honestly, everyone in Arizona is pretty hot, so, like, all my guy friends are hot, like, yeah, and all of my girlfriends are attractive, but I think you can be mature
Yeah.
at some point as well too on what type of relationship. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be some relationships, friendships where you're gonna wanna do more and maybe you do, but I feel like right now I'm like we talk about this all the time. I'm like, "Guys, I love you so much." Like, I didn't even know this type of, like, friendship could exist.
It's building what's more around you in a positive way.
Right.
And I think that's it's interesting because there's all these podcasts and all of these people who are talking about how horrible it is that nobody's in relationships and people are having kids at or at older ages and people are getting married at older ages and it's like, but the communities that we're building are fantastic.
Mhm.
So what I it's one of those things that I contemplate so much is like, what are the takeaways one way versus the other?
Right.
Is it more beneficial to have this close knit relationship with somebody and building a family and almost like not being as close to other people around you?
Mhm.
Or is it having a whole community
Right.
around you that is truly rooted in wanting the betterment of you? Because
Mhm.
there's also, there are the worlds where you have men's groups
Mhm.
who are bashing their wives when they hang out with each other, and
Oh
you
my
have
gosh,
women's groups who
100%.
are
Mhm.
telling each other, "You should just divorce him to be
Right.
happy."
Right.
And I feel like we're seeing much less of that now.
Yeah.
We're seeing the true, like, uplifting. Are we seeing quite as many relationships? Not necessarily, but we're seeing communities of large
100%.
individuals coming together for the betterment of many
Yeah.
people.
I think that's what I'm starting to realize the older I get too is like life is about relationships. And just because you have a deep connection with someone doesn't mean you have to date, doesn't mean you have to hook up. Like we are literally put on this earth to have relationships with people on an insanely deep level. And I feel like that was lost for so many years because it made people uncomfortable if you weren't dating to be that close with people. But I think finally for the first time I am realizing like, yeah, like you can definitely be platonic with your guy friends, and it's okay to have the most insane, deep, vulnerable, maybe sometimes like flirty conversations, but it doesn't mean you have to go and get married. Like we're just all here to experience like one another and also we're all portals to one another as well too. So I feel like I'm trying to look at every relationship that I step into now, like even friendship wise, that okay, like what am I here to help teach them? What are they here to help teach me?
Yeah, it's not in a transactional way either.
Right,
That's
100%.
the biggest, mm, I guess, mistake that people make is like, I need somebody who's gonna do this for me, and then
Mhm,
I have to do something right back, and
mhm,
then everything becomes a transaction to the point of like, "Oh, well, they didn't do this for me today,
mhm,
so now I'm not gonna do something for them."
mhm. Right.
And that's where, like, the communities around here and the communities that we involve each other with is it's giving truly unconditionally
Mhm,
and knowing that, like, the time that you are going to receive is either at the same time or in the future, and you don't have to worry about it. So it's interesting. The people that I listen to the most are the Chris Williamsons and Andrew Huberman, where their concepts of relationships is what's going wrong with relationships and like where are things needing to be fixed in order to people have more relationships. And the biggest thing that I listen into is like the lonely male epidemic and how that's playing such a factor in terms of like a lot of men's successes in a way. One of the things is this dude Brad Wilcox. He's a professor at BYU, and he was saying that marriage is more beneficial for men because they statistically live healthier, longer, and have better economic outcomes, and then they do better in social settings. But what I'm seeing now is with like your event with Revival on Sundays, there's men and women everywhere socializing and interacting with everybody. There's more groups of men talking about their problems with other men and being able to like have those spaces.
Mhm,
It's becoming a little bit less of having to confide in one person and being able to grow with the masses.
mhm.
And so I'm almost torn in a sense because ultimately, yes, in terms of the true basics of biology, we need to be able to procreate and do all of those things. But it's hard for me to find like which one's more beneficial, having a bigger group of people or having that rock solid one foundation. And what time and what areas do I need to be able to be in a position to have the right terms of one way or the other?
Do you think both can't exist at the same time?
I think they can, but I think when it comes to for me, when it comes to marriage and fatherhood, just speaking from the male side,
Mhm,
when I become a dad, that's my sole purpose in
mhm,
life. I've always known that being a dad is my sole purpose.
mhm,
And so when it comes to that, everything that I do is going to be for my kids.
mhm,
And my friendships are going to change in a sense.
mhm,
I think I'll still be in the realm of having like my guy friends that hang out, but it's going to be like for the betterment of my children.
mhm,
And so the big group interactions is like, how can I have this big group interaction with all of these people for the betterment of my kids,
mhm,
not for the benefit of them or me specifically?
mhm.
And so I think that's where it kind of changes for me.
I think I can definitely understand where you're coming from, but I think because I experienced firsthand one of my best friends with you probably see him running around with his kid, that I always thought, like, once I had kids, like, not that my life was over, but, like, I couldn't do anything that I wanted,
Yeah.
and my friend and his fiancée are a true testament that they did not like, I'm not saying you think life is gonna stop,
No, yeah.
but they did not let life stop for them at all. They bring their daughter everywhere. She is part of the community. He is still living his dream. He's still, coaching and doing everything. He coaches with me at Revival. And I think that if you have an established community before you get into a relationship, it's a lot easier to have both.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's more difficult if it's just you 2, and then you're, like, trying to branch out and, like,
Hmm.
find new friends, but I feel like I have such an established community that bringing a boyfriend into the mix would be, like, incredible, like, it
Yeah.
wouldn't in the past, like I said, I've, like, stopped hanging out with friends because my sole purpose was to be in that relationship, but I think it's because I was so insecure in all of them, but I think that which I also, like, obviously, I don't know what it's like to have kids, but if one day I get married and have kids, like, I want to do exactly how my friend does it, where, like, that baby goes everywhere, and
Yeah.
she doesn't even act she acts like a freaking adult, like, she, is so mature, she's able, to communicate with adults, but everything that he does so that she sees him, like, working out,
Mhm.
like, coaching, like, when they travel, like, giving her the life that she deserves, and I feel like giving a child community is so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I was kind of going with that is I would never change in the sense of, the traditional route of I'm gonna go work a 9 to 5 because it's the safest option
Right.
to be able to be a provider for kids.
Mhm.
It's showing them exactly how you live your life
Right.
in a way that you can do whatever you want
Mhm.
and have it be beneficial not only for yourself, but for
Yeah.
everybody around you. Building the community that you have around
Mhm.
you. I think where it comes into it is I want to have, like, my kids be more of the priority in a
Mhm.
sense,
Most
and
definitely.
so, like, having the people around is, like I was saying, benefiting the kids
Yeah.
and making sure, like, what I do and that's where separating, like, what I do from who I am
Uh-huh.
is, like, what I do is could possibly change multiple times,
Mhm.
but I wanna make sure that it's like what I'm doing is showing my kids that they can do anything
Mhm.
and be able to succeed. They
Yeah.
don't have to necessarily stick to a one shop
Mhm.
9 to 5 that you just
No, most
dislike.
definitely.
And not to knock on 9 to 5s because 90% of people in America are working a 9 to 5, and a lot of people enjoy what they do.
Mhm.
I have a friend who's an air I'm gonna mess it up, and he's gonna be so mad at me. Um, Fluid analysis for rockets, and absolutely loves his job.
Mhm.
Works at a desk,
Mm.
stares at numbers,
Yep.
but he absolutely loves his
Right,
job.
right.
And it's like, for me, I would hate that. I
I
just did that for 6 months where I stared at
Yeah.
numbers in a cubicle, and I was like, "I can't do this anymore."
Yeah. No, I feel that.
And so I think the lonely male chapter or epidemic that's going on is more going on because of a sense of scarcity and fear
Mhm.
than it is in a world of abundance and freedom,
Mhm.
and being afraid to talk to the cute girl at an event
Mhm.
or even at the bar if you're going to the bars consistently. It's like being afraid to do that, being afraid to use social media in a way to shoot your shot on
Mhm.
the platform, and then it's also just the overall fear of rejection
Mhm.
and
God, that
having
fear
that
of
be
rejection would have taken me out a
yeah,
million. The amount of things I've not done because of that is crazy.
that's where I use the fuck it mentality in a lot of things when it comes to physical things that we do.
Mhm.
For instance, like cliff jumping.
Mhm.
I'll just say fuck it instead of the 3, 2, 1 because forever I would say 3, 2, 1 and then I just freeze at the top of
Yep.
the cliff.
Yep.
And so it's like taking that mentality instead of doing 3, 2, 1 in everything that you do, including in the relationships. It's just like, screw it. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They say no.
Mhm.
There's obviously the overthinkers, me included, is like, well, I might catch a case because they might say that the guy is creepy or
Mhm.
the girl is way too aggressive coming up.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like if you're truly genuine in what you're trying to accomplish in a way that's not just the typical hookups or the toxic route of things,
Mhm.
and you're genuinely wanting to just know the human being,
Mhm.
that's where it's like, fuck it, shoot your shot, do whatever, do what you think is going to be most beneficial for you.
I also think a lot of people are shying away from relationships because so many people have gotten hurt that they're like, "I can't even imagine getting hurt one more time."
Yeah, I know my big reason for the longest time was I was told exiting my last relationship that they needed an adult relationship when we were still in college. And so for me, I took that as I'm not an adult. I'm not making money. I need to
Right.
have my career set
Mhm.
in order to be able to be in a relationship again.
Mhm.
And I do think there are more societal norms of that going on. I mean the numbers have shown that in a sense that women are becoming extremely more successful.
Mhm.
And so that true need, women don't need the marriages as much
Right.
as men do
Mhm.
because the strong independent woman is a true thing.
Yeah, most
And so
definitely.
adding that to how well women are doing economically
Mhm.
and relationship wise, personal wise,
Mhm.
compared to the slow decline of what men are doing,
Mhm.
I think that's where a small part of me wants to stay in a more traditional sense
Mhm.
in relationships because it's an empowering thing for both individuals. It's
Mhm.
not a knock on one versus the other. It's a way to again grow the relationship in that aspect.
Mhm.
But I think that's where societal norms are forcing men to want to stay single until they have everything figured out
Mhm.
and women wanting to stay single because they have things figured out a little bit more.
I think this is the rise of women right now, like, not just that standpoint, but their confidence and their worth. Like, I think they are I shouldn't say they're finally understanding, but I feel like they finally people aren't getting into relationships for the wrong reasons, I feel like, anymore, and people's tolerance is nothing of, like, what it used to be, and I
Yeah.
feel like people exit a lot sooner when they should have. But no, it is actually crazy to I feel like growing up but maybe that's because I mean, growing up, all I wanna do is get married. I was like,
Yeah.
that's literally I literally wanted to get married and have 6 kids, be an oncology nurse, and now I'm like, "What? That's crazy." But, yeah, I think people are just more focused on building themselves, and they're more focused on staying true to themselves, which is why people aren't getting into relationships as much, and I think, like you said, the fear of rejection or fear of being hurt again, because I feel like a lot of us souls are like, "I'm tired,"
Yeah.
which that also is a whole other topic where it's like you cannot project old relationships onto new ones at all, but, yeah, I feel like a lot of people are just like guys and girls are just, like, really good friends right now.
Yeah, it is nice, because, again, we're in a point of being able to grow the community. Uh, I think there's gonna be another shift at a point
Mhm.
when men start to understand, like, totally normal to have an extremely successful female counterpart and
That's
one
someone
who
who's, like,
can.
confident
Yeah,
within
exactly.
themselves
I
too.
think I think truly everything that is going on right now is in such a strange transition piece that
Mhm,
people don't understand what's going on.
mhm,
But once time keeps rolling, I think it morphs into something that can be a lot more beneficial.
mhm.
So, my last piece comes down to not talking anything about what you do, but explaining who you are today.
Hmm, that's good. I would say who I am today is an individual who used to beg to be heard and is now using the voice that I found to help aid other people. I would say who I am today is a puzzle that is being put back together. I feel like I was born as a put together puzzle, and then the pieces just shattered throughout my entire life, and now I'm finally able to put the pieces back together once again so I can help aid other people put their puzzle pieces back together. Um, I would say the person I am today is someone oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Let's say someone that my younger self would be literally so freaking proud of, and also shocked because I never imagined my life would be anything of what it is. And, I mean, I never wanted to even, like, live. So, for like, so many times, like, so many nights, I would go to bed and be like, "Just please do not allow me to wake up." And now I get to wake up at 4 in the morning and go be with, like, the most amazing community living my best life.
My last little piece, I'll leave you with this, is you never understand the blessings to come in the darkness until you're much further in the future.
Mhm.
And so I want to thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story and sharing your inputs on so many things and being able to be in a position to share the things that happened to you and how they've been able to shape who you are for the betterment of not only yourself, but the now mass amount of people that you surround yourself with today. So, with that, are there any things that you have going on or coming up that you would like to share in terms of community engagement, community building?
Our last revival of the summer, September 12th, me and my friend are coaching. It's on a Saturday. Other events, nothing is set in stone yet, but me and my one friend are working on creating more, uh, events together. And then kickball. Kickball on Tuesdays. Originally, we created that just because, like, I wanted to play recess with my friends, and now it's turned into the most beautiful frickin' night. We created the Instagram called Better Together Tuesdays, and we just want the last time, there was over 100 people that showed up. I knew maybe 10%. Like, it just people found us on TikTok, on Instagram, and it's just, like we're so excited to build up this community and grow and evolve with it. It's gonna turn into much more than kickball, but a lot of people in Arizona, since they are transplants, n are looking for community and things like that. So Tuesdays at 7 p.m., um, is kickball. We're changing fields in a few weeks, but let's see, anything else?
I was gonna say, you're probably gonna have to get a whole sports complex here
Okay,
soon.
no,
The amount of
honestly,
people
last
that are
time when I
coming.
showed up, I was like, "Oh, okay, no, this is real." So, yeah, we're just gonna grow and evolve with it. We're kinda gonna turn into more of like a field day or field
Awesome.
night
Yeah,
and just do a bunch of different types of games, connection cards, because a lot of people are there. Like, yes, it's fun to play kickball, but, like, meet new people,
yeah,
like-minded people. Um, Everyone there's, like, basically, I feel like an entrepreneur, and so it's like, how can we all help each other? But the big event right now is Revival, September 12th.
awesome. And then where can we find you?
My Insta is daffatato, my last name Daffatato, and then I just created a business page for online and then one-on-one training, and it's called Soulfire Movement.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is this might be my favorite conversation that we've had. So I know we
Yay.
we talked
I feel
about.
like we could have gone on for
Oh, yeah, yeah,
literally
yeah.
10 more
If
hours.
our batteries and everything weren't dying, it's I know, but we're
We're
down to
working with
1
one
light. That
light.
one's already at, like, 40%
Drew's over there
battery.
sleeping.
Yeah. He's gonna be riding the bike around here again here soon. But there'll be plenty more episodes to come.
Anytime,
Um,
call me. I'll
always
show up.
always love picking people's brains, especially as time gets rolling and
Uh,
everything starts to evolve and change and new community events are growing or
yeah.
new things are being shared,
Mm.
all of those pieces. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having
This
me.
was awesome.
Yay.
Cool.